Let's go. You guys ready to do this?
Yeah, dude. Born ready.
Perfect. Well, first of all, obviously, thank you to both of you guys. And I hope you don't feel offended by my quote, the nerds, because certainly the king of the nerds is probably Popshock, who we had on last week. He's probably your dad, if you will, or he's the master of the nerds. But I was asking around and I said, hey, who would be two good people to get on and like kind of talk about some things? And this person said, you two guys. And I was like, oh man, those two guys are like the overthinkers, man. Like they figure shit out that no one else does. So that's kind of like the theme of what I thought would go on here tonight, is you guys would probably maybe talk about some technical stuff. Obviously, Tepper, you put that video out, and like I said, it's amazing. And then Nicky, you're just like you're almost like the professor, kind of like Popshock in a sense. You know, you've got your Larry Longbow. You know, where did Larry Longbow come from, by the way, Nicky? Where did that start at? Is that something of yours, or did someone else bring that in?
It's Chatter just brought it in one day during stream. I used to play nonstop, like Larry Longbow for 6 months straight on Hunter, so it kind of just stuck after a while. So
That's
I just always played Hunter.
That's hilarious.
So Longbow Larry. No, yeah, I loved it. It's a great nickname. Although it might change on PTS if I play more Assassin. I don't know what goes with Assassin better.
Arnold.
Interesting.
Arnold Assassin. It's pretty good stuff.
All right. I'm going to hide my face so we can just do this thing. We got chat up, so if we want to see that. Perfect. So anyway, I sent you guys over obviously the little banner, and I guess let's start there. Like what are you guys seeing as early metas? Let's if we can maybe try to go through each class if we have a meta, or I'm interested to see if you guys agree on it. Obviously we can start with Tep's video. You know, basically he was dodge roll, Lightfoot, and obviously grapple, and he was destroying. I mean, not that he couldn't destroy with any setup, but I mean it was really OP. Tep, do you think it's been what 4 or 5 days since you made the video? Is that still a meta loadout in your case as far as solos go?
Yeah, absolutely. There's just so much value in each of your abilities. You can use them each in a bunch of different situations on their own, and then if you combine them together in just like an open fight, it's literally oppressive, as long as you're still hitting shots.
Interesting.
Which it is really hard to do and pull off, but once you get it, it becomes oppressive.
And by the way, I pulled out my thesaurus to speak to you two guys tonight, because I figured there'd be some words that I would need to look up. So let's just add that one right off the bat. Okay, great. Nicky, do you agree? Have you seen that video? Do you think that that's the meta?
Have you used it?
Pro.
For solos, I definitely agree. You get there's a high skill cap to using that kind of loadout, but once you master it in solos, you get a lot of utility out of it. You can really make some interesting plays. I'm sure you saw DrTepper's video too.
Mm-hmm.
If you get the Shmoomit going, you can really go far with it in solos. In trios, I think it's a different story. I don't know if Tep agrees, but I think it's a different loadout entirely. But for solos, 100%, it's Shmoomit City for that hunter.
What do you guys think? Let's talk about that. What would be the meta you think playing more in a squad or a trio? What do you think would change, and what would be most important about that loadout?
Yeah, so as far as meta goes in Realm, it's going to always be an important distinction between solos and trios or squads, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
They're always going to be different. So in solos, you want to be, you want all of the utility, all of it. You want movement, you want knockups, you want all of that. In squads, you want AoE damage, you want team abilities, like the whole game changes. So for Hunter specifically, you want the flare to give your team AoE wall hacks, and my team has been picking up Firebomb for the AoE damage dealing zoning ability.
What do you think, Nicky?
I agree. It really comes down to how much you can help your team as a hunter. especially in these customs we've been playing the last couple days on PTS. A lot of people are just trying to get as much value to their team as possible as a hunter. A lot of times that involves pick up neutral abilities. Um, like as Ted mentioned, there's a lot of firebomb hunter users right now. Heck, in one game tonight, I basically forced the entire team out of
I saw
Northport's
that.
Forge with the firebomb. It has a lot of utility and provides your team a lot of just utility in general. Now, it kind of depends on playstyle for me for that second slot. Flare's really strong. Some assassins would run sensor drone, and not every team would like to double vision it up. But wall hacks are pretty nice, especially if it's open field late game. I've been having a lot of fun personally with firebomb and something like a blast or proximity trap, just for that AOE. But I think
Interesting.
any of them are viable, honestly, as long as you know how to use it correctly in the situation. They're just very well balanced, in my opinion.
I actually
Yeah.
saw both of you guys running procs today, and I was just kind of wondering if you could maybe both just chit chat a little bit about how you're using it. More I think in the squads, obviously in the trio squads. Tell me a little bit more about proc shop, because obviously most of us in live, like we just shard that thing when we see it. But I noticed both of you running it today for a while.
Do you want to go, Nikki?
Yeah,
Do you
sure.
want me to go
I can
first?
start off. I mean, proc trap is really good, especially late game combined with firebomb. I've been running quite a bit of that. You can force a lot of people moving because it's a CC ability. You can knock up people, move them to the side, especially if they're poking around the corner. You throw down a prox, you force a bad push on their part. They could be forced to use one of their movement abilities, or just you take that angle on them now. It has a lot of use if used correctly. At the same time, though, it's kind of like firebomb. It's sometimes hard to finagle where you want it, so you kind of have to think through before you throw it, if that makes sense.
No, that makes
But
total sense.
yeah, proximity has a lot of use, especially in team play. So I don't know if Tep's going down the same train of thought, how he's
Yeah.
using it today.
Yeah, prox is very valuable, especially with a lot of these teams just wanting to, W key and push you.
Mm-hmm.
If you always have your proc strap set up on a doorway that a team is most likely to come through, you're in a good position, because the more you put your proc straps there, the more likely they're going to get value. And when someone walks into your proc strap that you put down 30 seconds ago, that is just absolutely free damage, free knockup, and you can use it again.
Does it tell you
That's
now?
really the value.
Do you still hear it when you're, a ways away from it? Do you still get the indicator that someone's run into it?
I think you'll get the damage number still.
Interesting. So you'll kind of hear that little psh, psh, whatever noise, and then if you turned around and looked that way, you'd probably see the damage numbers. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Or just even if you're defending a forge, just put down proc straps on doorways, and if someone walks in, you'll have another one ready.
What do you guys think about? It's interesting. I just got killed by Mouse in that last game. He's been running that. He's been running that freaking that mage loadout. Let's talk about the meta for the mage right now, if there is one, and what your guys' thoughts are on it. And by the way, you guys feel free to throw anything else you want to throw in as far as characters and maybe some changes if you think there are some changes that need to be made or what have you. Because at the end of this, I'm going to ask you guys all at some point, what do you think overall as far as how ready we are to see this thing go live? I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but what do you both think about this mage, and what would be the meta currently that everybody seems to be playing successfully in PTS?
It really differs. So I think in general, and it kind of got touched on a little bit with Nikki talking about the hunter, but in general, everything that has to do with meta right now is just playstyle based.
Interesting.
You can play whatever abilities you want, as long as they're not, I'm trying to think of an example. Like, I wouldn't run Fireball in trios because there's no AoE damage or team play with that ability. It's kind of just greedy poke, but
And Tep,
literally anything other than that.
just in case some of these 12-year-old kids don't know what AoE is, can you expand on that a little bit? When you say AoE?
AoE is area of effect, so
like flare sensor drone, right?
yeah.
Or the old days when we hit him with a fire weapon.
Yeah, anything that can hit multiple enemies. So
Okay.
single target is everything that you shoot. It has one projectile. It, you know, does one instance of damage. Single target. That is what that is. AoE is the opposite. It's all splash damage. So there's the distinction there.
Yeah. So like they basically made. It took me a minute to understand when they said the staffs basically switched, and now I get it because I've actually played with it. Where that fireball that comes out of it's kind of like the ice stave used to be, right? And it does do you can get the people around the corner a little bit, if you shoot them from the side, like the ice staff did, right?
Exactly.
Interesting. Nikki, any comments or any thoughts on the mage as far as meta goes?
I mean, as far as meta's concerned, Tepper is basically right in what he's saying. Most of the abilities are balanced as long as you use things that complement each other and don't use something that doesn't make sense to go with one another. You could kind of pick and choose what makes sense for the situation or end game to see what you're going to run into and play accordingly. I don't think there's a bad loadout per se. It just depends on what you're preparing for, if that makes sense. And admittedly, I've used mage the least out of any of the 4 classes on PTS, so I have the least knowledge in that regard.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, I say as long as you use abilities and weapons that complement each other, you can make something work in any situation. It's not, very unbalanced like Live is. Using an heirloom rifle and an SMG, you can't really do much with that late game. So
interesting. Let's move on to let's move on and talk about Assassin. I know that I saw you rock an Assassin quite a bit, Tep. I want to say it was probably earlier in the week in doing your thing. Tell me a little bit about Assassin meta. I mean, duh, right? It's pretty much obvious, I think, what the meta is, but is there anything we don't know that you figured out? Is there anything kind of like you like stumbled across and were like, hey, this is a little bit different the way maybe the way you're using those abilities?
Yeah. Again, I'm gonna talk about solos here because in trios, like Assassin can literally run any ability and have value. But just something I stumbled upon was Lightfoot plus Decoy. That is a pretty fun loadout. You can really confuse your enemies by like decoying halfway up the air with extra air control and stuff like that.
Tep, does it take a little bit of the invisibility with the Lightfoot? Are you still invisible as you're floating?
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as you pop your decoy.
You killed me the other day and I was like, where the hell did he come from? That is exactly what you were doing then. I'm like, I did not even see him. He just demolished me. Which is kind of odd for this PTS, by the way, because the fights are usually pretty drawn out in some cases. Okay, so Lightfoot.
The main thing, that's just a build I stumbled upon. But the main thing with Assassin is, like, if you're trying to play Assassin and do well, you absolutely need to be abusing Conk. The utility that it provides is unreal. You have it's a movement ability, like one of the better movement abilities in the game if you learn the momentum mountain jumping that goes with it.
Have you tried a Lightfoot Conk and does it go any higher?
So Conk works based off of your like velocity, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So Lightfoot, you're going a little bit faster than normal walking, so yes, you go further. But mounting is still better than Lightfoot.
Interesting. Nikki, I don't often see you play Assassin, but I'm sure that you do. Have you had a chance to play Assassin in the PTS so far?
Yeah, honestly, I really like Assassin. I think it's in a great spot. Like, I honestly think I'll be playing it quite a bit more coming from being a hunter main. I think you could do a lot with it, especially like Tep mentioned, centered around concussion grenade. You can use it as movement, defensively, offensively, neutrally, as a low cooldown. Basically, kind of like Tep said, you got to abuse it as much as you can. That's the main thing about around Conk. And now you can able to one-shot chickens with a Leggy sniper. It provides a lot of utility for teams. And if you center around tournament-style gameplay and points are based off kills, Assassin might be a large pick for a team just for those points alone. So
Yeah,
I
you
think
know,
we're going to see a lot more Assassins.
when I first started playing Realm back in the day, I pretty much only played Assassin. Like, it was the only character that I had leveled up to like full Master 100 level, whatever. And part of my fear right now in trying to play in the PTS is that I think there's a big learning curve from a guy who's a casual player, of course. You know, I wasn't doing self conk at all in the live server. So the first time I got that thing, I just, it was kind of embarrassing. Like, I'm like, conk blink, okay, like I'm gonna need a lot of practice. And what I'm thinking, and I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I just been playing Hunter, trying to get used to Hunter. I really love the grapple hook. And the thing is like, I don't think they're going to change it much when it finally goes live, but I'm fearful that they might change those other 3 classes. So I haven't really played them a lot so that I won't be disappointed. Like, oh, they changed this and now it really sucks for me. I don't like this. Speaking of sucks, so let's talk about the warrior and the axe, the new movement. It accordingly is saying that it's the same exact timing to throw the axe. It just has a different, arc to it. And it seems like it was really designed to be a close weapon, a close fighting weapon. Nicky, tell me about that. I know that you play warrior often. What did you think about the axe change? And better, worse, just got to get used to it? Tell me what you think about that.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people that have been playing OB23 are probably going to be very disappointed because
Right.
there's a resemblance to the old axe that they just haven't got the chance to play with. So it's a bit of a learning curve that you just kind of have to get used to. But I think the current axe on PTS feels a lot better than live axe in the terms of you have to actually kind of think before you use it and like get around that skill issue. And it's just something you gotta get used to, if that makes sense. But
Yeah.
I like axe a lot more currently.
What about you, Tep? Any comments on, I mean, warrior axe change meta? Are you disappointed? Are either of you guys disappointed that they don't currently have the hammer? What do you think, Tep?
Um, I'm really happy with the state Warriors in.
Okay.
He serves as a close range brawler, which is really what Warrior should have been
Right.
all along.
Right.
And that axe, like this new axe that we see on the PTS, really plays the biggest part in that.
Yeah. I think and I'll kind of shift gears a little bit. I think one of the things that really made me happy, and as I'm sure both of you guys know, I consider myself more of a content creator, small streamer than I do like a real, hardcore gamer. But I've certainly gotten better playing with all of you guys in this PTS because literally when you do get in a lobby, it's like everybody's in there. But I've also killed a few people that were a surprise to me. I won't say any names because I don't want to upset anybody, but I've killed some really good players, partially because I was just in the right place at the right time and I got to kill the chicken. But some other people that I would normally come across, being able to back up and reset and fight again seems to be what is most, at least for me, the most fun right now. So kind of moving on to our next question, do you think the game right now as it sits is balanced enough? Is it balanced enough, you guys? What do you guys think? Either one of you can start.
I think in terms of one-on-one, class versus class, the game is fairly balanced. Really, in my experience, the fights usually just come down to which abilities play into your enemy better. So it's going to be hard for me to think of specific loadouts here, but
Well, obviously, when
like,
you're
let's
Hunter,
say,
being able to get away from that warrior in those one-on-ones is critical to being able to really
yeah,
destroy him. Because once they get on
another
top of you, you're in trouble.
yeah, another thing is like warrior with enrage plus shield does very well against mage. If mage doesn't have ice block, the warrior will not be able to lose the fight.
Nick, you know
Things
the
like
answer to
that.
this question. How much shield do you get, and what's the duration on that you're talking about?
Oh, I'm not that stat nerd,
You're
sadly.
not that guy? Oh, maybe
I'm not
Tepper.
that guy.
I can give you some
Okay.
numbers perhaps. So the legendary shield is 500 HP,
Mm.
and it lasts for 7 seconds.
And that's the one you can throw, and if everybody in your team's near you, everyone gets it, correct?
Yeah, it's the shielding shout
Yeah.
on warrior.
It's interesting, you know, that is not something in live that I've seen anyone really use in like the longest time. And now watching you guys play PTS, I see that every single game. Somebody's running it every single game, especially in the squad and trio stuff. Interesting. Okay. We kind of went through everybody, you know, and we kind of talked about it being balanced. I mean, Nikki, do you know, just to finish off, Nikki, do you feel like it's pretty balanced? Do you feel like all the classes in the game itself is pretty balanced right now?
I think it's balanced in the sense of you got to look at it from a couple of perspectives. Kind of like Tep mentioned earlier, like some fights you're not supposed to win, and I would call that balance. Like a hunter pushing into a warrior, assuming they're the same-ish skill level inside a building, close quartered. I think more times than not, the warrior should win. It's a close range, combat ability based class. Meanwhile, hunter is supposed to be that poke boy that doesn't, run up all in your face.
Right. Kind of comes in, hits you, then backs up and hits you again.
Yeah, for sure. Some people would say that's not balanced, but in my mind, that gives the classes more identity, and like you belong to this or that class. You can't do everything, so you give up something by playing some class. In my mind, that makes this game a lot more balanced than live. On live, you can play any play style how you want, depending on any class. It's less of a class-based system on live. It's more of just a skin simulator, essentially.
Interesting. All right, well, as I normally do, I'll throw you guys a little bit of a curveball, and I also understand if for some reason you guys can't answer some questions, that's totally fine. I respect what you guys do. It's interesting, you know, I had you guys know A200, right? You know A200, you guys both know him. You know that name, you've seen it in your chats probably.
Yeah, I've seen him around in my chat and a couple others. He usually lurks on a lot of Twitch streams.
Yeah, Tepper, you know who I'm talking about? A200?
Not really.
His name is A200 and then like a bunch of numbers. We call him A2. I call him A200, and I think he's actually changing his name to that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and when he plays in games, he's the one that has She is his name in the game.
I didn't know that actually.
Yeah, that's him. So it's interesting, man. He was talking to me last night when I was finishing up streaming, and he's like, "Hey, man, I got this doc I've been working on. It's like super long. I don't know what to do with it, and I would love like for someone to just give me some feedback on it." And he sent me over this like 1,500 word doc. And I'm not going to go through the whole doc with you guys, but it was interesting. He started off by talking about, and I don't know that he was necessarily disappointed, but he felt like there was some, you know, potential challenges that we're going to run into as a community with the class locking and the weapons, you know, being limited right now. And again, I understand that you guys may have information that you can't talk about. So, what do you say to like a guy that says, "Man, I'm pissed off that they locked those classes, and I don't like the game, and I don't feel like I'm as good at the game now because I can't, you know, play axe with a assassin sniper and finish my chickens off." What do you guys think about that group of people that might be out there? They're like, "Yeah, I don't like that class locking thing. It really bums me out, and I don't like that you took some of our weapons away." Anything you guys can say on that?
In my mind, if you have some comment in one form or another, honestly, the best way I would go about it is going to the official Realm Discord with PTS feedback.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. He's definitely voiced this opinion in Discord for sure. But I just thought, you know, I had to ask myself, because remember, so for me, I never played when the classes were locked. I've only played this game what it similarly is currently live, the live server. So I didn't know what it was like to not be able to pick up a weapon, you know? And the thing for me, and I've said this to him and many others, is like, I just really love the fact that I could fight with people that normally just absolutely roll me in game, at least for now in PTS, and until guys like you and Tepper and others figure out, you know, these different combinations to just destroy us in these lobbies, you know. But until then, it's like I play to casually have fun. When I stream, I normally, you know, we'll run queues in squads depending on what time of day or night it is. But I'm certainly out for the content. I'm not out to, you know, go roll these lobbies. But it sounds like there's some people, and I feel like maybe this is the controller crowd, you know, they haven't had a chance to play yet. So they're seeing all this stuff. They're going, "Oh, that doesn't look good for us. Oh, that's going to be a problem." Anything that you guys, either of you, would say to that? I mean, other than obviously if you have feedback, absolutely put it in the Discord. But I mean, what did you guys think about the class locking? Obviously, I think both of you played when there was class locking. Did you not before?
I personally
I
didn't have
did.
much time back in the day. I think Tepper had a lot more time. He's more of an OG than me.
Okay.
But as soon as I hopped into class locking, honestly, it was kind of a fresh breath of air.
Right.
Like,
That's what
obviously,
I think.
honestly, like there's some issues with it, but they're being worked out. A lot of the complaints that people have had have been addressed pretty readily in the Realm Discord. Like the movement slot not being available when you forge is now there in the forge. So it's not like they're just ignoring feedback, and it's not, you're not just typing into the void. It actually does something when you post in that Discord. It's not like you're gonna type something up, no one's gonna see it, and
Right.
you just feel like another community member on an old high res game, essentially.
Yeah.
So
I was definitely one of those people that was like, man, if I pick up an ability that's offensive, can it just go into the slot that I want? Like, rather than having to go and change it, and realizing obviously that I might change it later, but then that's like my prerogative because my hands are used to that certain spot being that offensive ability and the other one being the other, support ability. So I'm glad for one that they changed that. I was definitely on that bus.
oh, for sure. The
Tep-
longest time I had my blast arrow and usually a fireball mixed up, and I'm so used to throwing
yeah,
it one
and you're
way. So
pressing the button
I
like,
get it.
dude, why can I not blast arrow this? Oh shit, it's on the other
No,
button.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've lost more fights than I can count. The bots doing that
Listen,
alone. So
I can't tell you how many times I've gone to the screen to change the weapons around and just gotten ripped like from the side.
Yeah.
And then I'm like trying to get back out of the menu and I'm like, I can't get back out. I'm just stuck in the menu and then I'm just chickened. Like, it's happened so many times.
Heck, speaking of the menu, oh, if you want to go.
No, go for it.
I was just about to say, speaking of the new menu on the res mechanics, how do you feel about like chickens? I'm gonna kind of turn this around.
Yes.
How are you feeling about the new like resing? A lot of people have big opinions on it. I'm sure Tepper does as well.
So, okay, so I have two pieces on this. All right. My first piece is that obviously I die a lot. So I love it. I love it from a perspective of having fun gaming. But I think, and I think this will end up being somewhat of what Tep says and somewhat of you probably agree with this too, is I think when we get enough of a player base that there's a competitive, if you will, arena for people to play in, I don't know that res has a place in that, in that side of our game. I think for a casual public, pub match, I think it's fun to just constantly be able to get farmed by your team and have them, plant some and run away. And with that said, I'll also say this is, they made it too long now though. Even as much as if you like it or don't like it, that last res towards the end of the game, you pretty much, I got so much to say right now.
It's all good. I love it.
There's so many circles that now end in the middle of nowhere, not on forges. So like last night I was playing with AeroCloud, he goes and posts the res, and by the time the 90 seconds was up, the fog had come and we just died immediately when we dropped out of the sky in the fog. So there's that piece of it that sucks. So I don't know what they're going to do with that. I don't even know what my complaint is with that, to be honest with you. But I believe that it should be more like Fortnite, to be honest with you. I think you should come out of the air just like you come out of the Zeppelin, not as a chicken. I think you should have some ability to land somewhere other than where that forge was at. And I believe with that piece of it, you have a better chance of someone maybe shooting you out of the sky than when you're a chicken and you can't really tell where they're at. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I would like to see the res take place and then have you be able to be more mobile. And I also would like you to not have your entire loadout when you land as well. So I think you should have maybe one of your class weapons and your movement ability when you come out of those reses. That's just, what do you guys think about that? Sorry, I said a lot there.
I don't know if Tepper has anything to add, but
yeah, Tep,
if you look at
Tep fell asleep. He's tired.
I'm just absorbing. That's not something I've thought about. But I do think the balance there, if you res without being a chicken, you absolutely should not have your loadout.
Totally.
I would even go as far as to say you just spawn with nothing at that point.
Interesting.
Just your class movement.
And so Tep, I have something for you on this, guys. What I was thinking is that's going to cause a whole other issue, right? There's going to be a whole other crowd that says, well, that's cool that you do that, but now we have no guns, so we land, we're useless. I think they should make part of the forge, when you come back with nothing, you should be able to go and forge your whole loadout that you died with back for, 150, 200 maybe shards. And that would obviously then go into the realm of us talking about, well, can we share shards? Can I give my teammate shards? But there has to be some way for them to get weapons quickly. Because one of the challenges is, what if the circle's ending, say, in a place where the game kind of started? Like, say we all landed crossing and I die there, and then the circle ends there. I can't even forge again. So that's going to be an issue if we have it go that way, Tep, you know? Like, there's a lot of challenges if we have them land with nothing. Oh, man. Ray, thank you for the 1,500 biddies, bro. Appreciate that. Oh, my God. That was a shock. Was not expecting that. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. Woo. Damn, boys, you're earning me money. Let's go. I love it.
Got some deep thinkers.
Yeah, some deep thinkers for sure. But yeah, I mean, to answer the question simply, I think the casual player loves the new res system. I think you competitive guys are a little bit irritated by it, especially towards in game when a guy can just jump, basically gets to catapult on top of you if the circle's small enough, right? So you're like, oh great, Tepper just rezzed and jumped on top of my head and just destroyed me because like I'm on top of, you know, what is that? What's that freaking the swamp? You know, forbidden. Like you're on top of that forge and then 3 chickens just fall on top of you. They all of a sudden spawn and destroy you. I don't know that that's fair. And that's happened to me more than once, by the way. I mean, you asked Tepper, what do you really think about it? I mean, do you think it's good for the growth of the game moving forward, and that the people that come to play will be like, oh, cool, I can come right back, and so we got to kind of keep it in? Or is it something that definitely needs a tweak, not so much that it scares away some of our new base that we're hoping to attract?
I think if it were me personally, I would tweak it a little bit.
Interesting.
But honestly, I don't hate the general idea. Yes, I agree that it's a lot more catered towards a casual player base, but honestly, like over the, you know, PTS testing, I've gotten to, you know, it's growing on me a little bit.
So you were like initially like
starting to like it.
You were kind of initially like, don't like this at all, and now you're kind of like, okay, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
Wow, they're coming in. Hey, let me take a quick little break from this and just tell the stream. Hey, big brother, thanks for the follow. Thank you for the sub as well. Hey guys, if you're just joining us, and I just looked over and noticed there was a bunch of people in here, so thank you guys for all coming in. We're talking to DrTepper, we're talking to SlickyNicky. We're trying to stay somewhat close to these questions that are on the screen that you guys see right now. We're kind of already at the end of these questions and kind of towards the end of this thing. So, oh wow, big brother popped off too.
Big brother Bill.
Gifted 5 tier 1s. Oh my god, man. Let's go. You guys are crazy. Ronnie the Tron got one. Let's go. Holy shit, dude. They're coming in hot.
34 years old and doesn't even play Realm, dude.
They're coming in, bro. They're coming in hot. So, man, should turn that alert off, bro. What was I thinking? Just to let you guys know, I appreciate this, but it will be cut out of the VOD that goes on to like Spotify, okay? You imagine? Oh my god. Thanks, Gaming Cube. All right, so I'm gonna ask you guys the last question, but before I ask you guys the last question, I have another one I want to weave in. So give me a quick impression, each of you guys, on that first patch. We're calling it patch 1, then the second patch, which was patch 2, I think, kind of last week, and then obviously we're playing on patch 3. Are you guys satisfied with what has changed through those 3, what we call patches on the PTS? And what was your initial reaction to the first one? Now, yeah, what was your guys' initial first reaction to the patch? Like, Nikki, when you hopped on it the first time and got to play, what were your thoughts? Were you like, holy shit, this is unreal?
Oh, 1,000,000%. You know, it's much different than live. I mean, Hunter gets grappled, new abilities, new weapons. It's so much fun, you know, it's so different. Everything felt a lot better. I mean, obviously there were some metas that were, you know, kind of exposed early in the first patch, like the SWAT meta. That was kind of addressed in patch 2 and whatnot. But honestly, it was such an improvement over live. I've never had so much fun playing Realm Royale, personally. It was so different.
Likewise. What about you, Tep? When you first plugged in and dropped in, What were your thoughts initially?
Honestly, it just seems surreal that this is even happening
Right.
because of how long Realm went without anything. No contact to human civilization, dude. And then all of a sudden I'm
Right.
playing and picking up armor pieces again, and
Right. Yeah.
assassins are the only people who can have sniper. It's
Yeah.
just
And
amazing.
I asked Tepper earlier on his stream actually. Just I was already getting into the questioning. That auto sniper, I don't know what the plans are for it, but right now it's not really a viable weapon. Like I guess if you pick it up and have to use it, you're like, okay, it's cool. It kind of does this, that, and the other. But oh my god, bro, they're killing me with the subs, dude. Crazy. Thank you guys so much. We got a hype train going. Oh god, you guys are out of hand. You see what happens? You see what happens when you just try to do a little podcast? You see what happens? They get into it. All right. So let's get you guys finished off here. Let's talk about your favorite things about what you're seeing right now. And then the last question is, do you feel like this is ready for live? How close is it ready for live, like on a scale of 1 to 10? That's one question. And the other question is, what's been your favorite, other than the fact we have PTS, what's been your guys' favorite thing about it? And have you go first, Tap.
I'll answer the scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah. And being ready to launch.
If PTS could just stay up forever, I would be in heaven. So I'm gonna go ahead and rate that a 10.
Wow.
The improvement from Live Realm that the PTS has shown is I don't even have words for it. It is just so much more enjoyable to play.
Yeah,
So if that was on live right now, I don't think I'd be doing anything else.
It's interesting. And Nikki, what do you think? Scale of 1 to 10. Is it ready to be our live new game? Is it ready to be released again to the public?
I'm kind of near Tepper, but a little ways off. If this was like two or so weeks ago, I would have said like 3 out of 10 with all the crashes going on. But thankfully, it seems like a lot of that's resolved now. So
I agree.
imagine being able to play on live and half your games crashes. That'd be a terrible experience, even if it was amazing. So I'm happy to see that looks to be fixed. I still think there's still some, in my mind, some things that need to be tweaked and whatnot to make it like a big bang. So like I'd give it a 7 out of 10 for me.
Interesting.
Personally.
So you think they do need a little bit of cleanup, but let me ask you guys both this: do you feel like, I mean, we've already answered this tonight. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when he said, "Hey, I'm leaving it up for the weekend," it was kind of like, huh. You know, like they're kind of specific with us. Hey, on Thursday we're doing this. Hey, on Wednesday we're trying to figure this out. Hey, last weekend we're working on these bugs. Please, submit your logs. There hasn't been a lot of that going on. I mean, I'm sure people are submitting stuff, but I haven't seen a whole lot of activity and a whole lot of complaints, if you will, or a whole lot of like, big issues. Like it feels like the game's pretty butter to me. Like I hop on and play solos, and even in some of those bot lobbies, just trying to learn how to do some of the maneuvering and stuff. It's like, what am I playing? What is this game? Like, this is not the same game that we're playing on live. It's literally a different game. I mean, do you agree with that, Tepper? I mean, this is a different game than what we play on live. It's nothing like that game.
Absolutely.
I mean, it has all the same characters and the map and stuff, but this game's not the same game. It's literally a new game.
Absolutely. And honestly, in my opinion, everything in this new game is an improvement.
Interesting. With you saying that, then Tep, is there anything that you're disappointed about not having been in this first release? Are you disappointed there wasn't, the engineer that everybody's been talking so much about, which we all know is so broken they can't bring it back at this point? But is there something that you thought might be missing as we kind of finish up here tonight? Something that you thought, I don't know, they should have had this in the PTS. Why did we not have this?
Personally, as a long-standing Realm Royale player for the 2-3 years, however long it was, on and off, playing the dead, laggy Realm, my standards dropped big time. So the fact that there's anything going on, like, I just don't feel right having issues with it, you know?
Interesting. So you love it enough right now that you're not even disappointed about any of the changes as far as removal of weapons and what have you. You're like, hey, I'm just happy that they came back with this. Now, and listen, Glock 9 on the very first episode of this said something very interesting, which was that he said I kind of like know what's happening, and I was shocked at what they gave us. Like, this is shocking, this first patch that they're giving us. It's like more than I could have imagined that they would have been willing to give us. Do you concur with that, Nicky? And also, you know, is there anything that you thought was missing from this patch?
Personally, like I kind of agree with that. Like, there's just so much that like is here and it's so amazing, but at the same time, maybe I'm a little bit more pessimistic here, but you can't really get too complacent. You know, you can't just give them a freebie just because it's so much better than Broken Realm on Live, in my opinion. But in the same regard, I think what we have is amazing. I wouldn't take it for granted, honestly, coming from old Live Realm. And like, there's little things here and there that I would like. Like, I wish the dragon was bigger. Personally, like triple the size is gleaming over the map. I wish you can customize your reticles like on every other major like shooter game. But overall, like they're tiny things in comparison to what's in front of us. So,
You know, since both of you I know are going to run Hunter a lot, I feel like you both run Hunter a lot, and I'm falling in love with Hunter, and especially Grapple Hook. Do you guys feel like there needs to be some change to like the indication that it's going to grab or not grab? I know last night I literally put this in the Discord. Like, I shot the grapple off 5 different times last night during 10 games, and it didn't hook on anything, and then it made it cool down, and I died. And I was like, fuck, this fucking grapple hook's garbage, you know? You know what I'm talking about though, Tip? You fire it and it doesn't connect, and then it still cools down, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think as far as all that goes? They're just having a sub battle.
That's something KDN brought up, like in the original tournament. You know, that grapple should have some sort of indication that you're in range. I honestly think
crazy.
there's no con to that, in my opinion. Just like a reticle color change or something like that to let you know that you can grapple onto that wall that you're looking at.
Nicky, how are you feeling about the grapple as far as just indications?
Sure. I won't lie, I've done it so many times due to miss grapples and the cooldown being 12 seconds long. I've almost flipped my desk a couple of times. It drives me insane.
It's not just me. I love that.
No, yeah, maybe it's only good players that get it. So, but no, I'd be all for like a reticle or indicator of something being shown, like Tepper said. Kind of something similar to how if you aim through a window and you can't shoot through it, there's like an X on your screen in the middle. Even something simple as that would be fine. Grapple is just another thing that I'd kind of point back to. Just needs a little bit more love. Sometimes when I use grapple, it doesn't always work the way I want it to for a main class ability.
You know, and I don't know. I certainly wouldn't pretend to understand how a dev works and how that coding works and all this stuff. But I don't know about you guys, and I'm sure it would just make it really OP, and it would be a problem. But I would love for once you grapple that you could move right, left, up, down, and literally swing. You know, like a swing set, like swing over the top and back. Like I would love it if they would give us that. And I don't know if they could or if they would or if it would just be broken beyond belief if you had that kind of movement ability. But I know that watching Tepper's video, he almost in a sense kind of does that. I guess what I miss for the content purposes, I would love for her to be able to swing upside down. You know what I mean? like Spider-Man, literally, is what I'm pushing for, and not gonna get it. And by the way, Omni and Big Brother, thank you guys for all those subs. Thanks for the hype train. You guys are fucking amazing. Guys, before we wrap this up, is there anything else that you guys want to say? And before I let you say that, I just want to tell you how grateful I am to both of you. I don't really know you two very well other than gaming and watching your guys stream. So I know this is gonna sound cheesy, but it's really an honor to get to talk to both of you and get to hear your guys' opinions and allow me to, some just small guy to come on and talk about this game that we all love so much. So I really appreciate both of you. It was really amazing that you guys did this, and I know that it's gonna play well to everyone else. They're gonna shit. They're being Tepper and Nicky did this. What? You know? I'm like, yeah, I'm a big deal now. Jesus, man, I got the big boys in here. You know. But seriously, man, is there anything you guys want to leave the listeners of this thing when they listen back on it tomorrow on the actual podcast? Is there anything you guys want to say about where we're at, or just in general? And like I said, I so appreciate you both, like, so much. You have no idea.
Nikki touched on it very briefly, but I just shout out to Hi-Rez for, you know, during these PTSs, they're listening to feedback and they're making positive changes based on, you know, exactly what the community is saying. And that is amazing. It is completely a turnaround from old Hi-Rez, and honestly, I'm in love.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And how about you, Nikki? Anything that you want to maybe top this thing off with? And again, thank you again for doing this.
Oh, honestly, like I feel honored that you even invited me. I was not expecting it, so I appreciate it.
Wow.
Same, dude.
But
Oh, wow.
for me though, like honestly, for anyone listening, like I don't think there's a better time to play Realm Royale than now. Like a lot of games, there's a great gaming drought right now. This is one of the few games where the devs listen, update accordingly, and like take in feedback. And it's just a fun game. The community is really awesome. 95% of it, it's a blast. I'd recommend jumping in as much as you can, honestly.
Yeah, and then to both of your guys' point, I just want to say one thing. You know, if you guys don't already know this, it's like one of the things that was really important to me 6 months ago when I started making a ton of TikTok videos and started talking about, hey, I believe this game's 100% coming back, you know, and hey, YouTube, you know, videos and what have you. It's so cringe to do it, but you gotta do it for YouTube videos, you know. Hey, everybody, you know, I can't wait for Idiot to make videos and call everyone idiots again. I don't know if you guys ever used to watch his videos, but he go, hey, idiots. It was the greatest, dude. But I really wanted to place myself in the middle of the community and try to do my best to try to get along with everyone in the community. So, you know, it might seem crazy to some people to have somebody on one week and then someone on the other week that maybe you're like, wait, is that guy's friends with everyone? It's not even about being friends. It's just about, for me, you guys, I love this game. Like, I'm 50 years old. You guys have heard me say this before. I've got a 17-year-old son. You know, I'm an old dude that really enjoys the time I get to do what I do. This is like my hobby, if you will. This is like my craft. Like, this is what I do to feel good and like relieve the stress of my real life. And to have them bring this game back and do what they've done literally brought me to tears because I really love this game. So in order to get that across, I don't care who in the community gets along with each other or doesn't. I just want to let everybody have a voice that's willing to promote what we've got, because I really truly feel like this thing can compete with the big boys. People tell me I'm crazy, but I think we have a pretty incredible game right now. And I think it's unique, and I'm going to continue to be a casual player and get, you know, shit on and rolled by both of you guys in lobbies. Much like when I see, you know, usually when I see Tepper in a lobby, it takes me 10 seconds to go, do I want to play this lobby or not? Do we want second place? You know, or I see Nicky and I'm like, man, he's playing Hunter. This sucks. I have to play Warrior.
Do I want to
whoop
him is what you're thinking. Let's be real.
Yeah, right. But like, that's the other thing too. Like here, and I'll end with this, you guys, and thanks again for doing this. Like, I think what's happened is I've hopped into this PTS and I've competed with some of you guys that are really, really good at the game. And the reason for that, oh, these guys are killing me. The reason for that is because of how balanced it is. So if I saw Nicky in a lobby playing Hunter, I'd be like, well, if we're playing live, I'm probably not going to beat him with any class other than maybe this broken Warrior. So I'm playing Warrior on live because I know that it might be the only chance I have to beat some of the better players that I'm going to see in these lobbies. Now I'm playing Hunter, I'm playing Assassin, I'm playing a little bit of a Warrior, and I don't feel like I'm not able to compete with you guys. I mean, when we get these end games, they're a little bit nuts, but for the most part, you know, it's made me a better player, and I certainly haven't gotten better in 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, something's happened, if that makes sense, you know, to this game, that I can compete with you guys. I can kill players that I normally would never kill. So Anyway, thank you guys both, man. You guys, DrTepper, SlickyNicky, both of them stream on Twitch. I will make a video and put it on YouTube tomorrow, and I will put all their links to their social media, and I will also, if it's okay with you, Tep, I'll put a link to that video, the How to Hunter video, which is amazing. And
Sure,
thank you guys tremendously for doing this. I know that the community is going to hear this, and they're just going to be even more encouraged by what you both said. I'll let you guys get on with your nights. And thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I appreciate it.